Hey guys, welcome into today's video. Today is going to be all about Gucci. I just launched a brand new concealer, so we're going to do a wear test today. But I also have a full face of Gucci. I'm pretty sure I have a full face here. With the exception of eyeshadow, I don't have eyeshadow, but I think we'll use some of their product as eyeshadow. We might as well some of their powder products. That's what's on today's agenda, so if you guys are interested in seeing the new Gucci concealer try on and a full face, stay tuned. I have done this video already. I picked up a bunch of stuff from Gucci and was testing a lot of their products out. And then right after I did that, they launched the new concealer. So I totally scrapped that video. This is me testing this new concealer, but also showing you guys a little bit more of their products. And I have grown to absolutely love a lot of their stuff. I'm really getting into the Gucci line at this particular point. I have tried their foundation this month. Well, I guess at the end of last month for the first time. And this appears to be the only foundation they have in their line, and I am loving it. So we're going to be pairing the concealer with a full face of Gucci products. But you guys, I wanted to start out with the packaging because it is super luxe. It has like this wallpapery design. I couldn't even tell you what kind of design this is. And it comes in a huge box, like a really big box for what I ended up picking up along with the concealer. Just a couple of things. I got a setting powder and then a highlighter. Oh, and then an eyebrow pencil. So it wasn't a lot of stuff. I guess it was these 4 things, and it came in this literal giant box. And then this receipt, it matches the packaging, the inside of the packaging. So, and it's, I don't know, it feels like a really hefty paper, like a really expensive stationery. And then, you know, the letter from Gucci. The experience overall is just pretty luxe. In addition to that, they also made my husband, well, he was here to accept the package, but they made a sign for it. And I'm pretty sure it was free shipping. So, and these boxes are like custom, right? So they have them done for their shipments very specifically. Plus, it came with 4 bags. I'm not sure why. I guess 4 products, 4 bags. So yeah, they're just linen bags. They look like wine bags basically, and they have basically the same kind of design as both the envelope for the receipt and the inside of the box themselves. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these bags because I'm not really a big wine drinker, and when it's in my house, it goes right out of my house. Well, it goes into me and the bottle leaves my house. So that was kind of the experience. I wanted to share that with you guys. Shipping was super fast. Didn't have any issues with my products, and everything comes sealed in plastic. So I really like that. Let's jump into how I would normally apply my makeup. I want to go into their high precision natural finish eyebrow pencil and just apply all of these things with you guys. And of course, like I mentioned, some of the stuff will be a first impressions, and then some of it just isn't, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on the rest of the line. I kind of feel like I'm dipping my toes in a little bit at a time. This one is in the shade Blonde. I love the fact that it's waterproof, and nothing extremely fancy about this. Comes with a spoolie, most of them do. It says an ultra precise brow pencil, but it is tipped like I want to say, yep, like about a triangle shape. Okay, I built it up pretty well on the back of my hand. I always like to warm up these pencils when they're brand new because they're usually pretty stiff when they start. That was fast and easy and even, and the formula is perfect. It's not too hard, it's not too creamy. I love this. If it wasn't so darn expensive, I could see myself really enjoy reaching for this. That was perfection. Of course, I will be linking everything in the description box, including color. I did pick this up on the Gucci website. The stuff that I'm unwrapping all came from Gucci, but the rest of the stuff I did get on the Sephora website. This particular pencil, this micro fine brow pencil, is not available on the Sephora website. It looks like they have maybe 2 different pencils on the Sephora website, but neither of them are the micro fine brow one. It looks like they have even maybe potentially just one. They have the crayon eyebrow pencil, which is the sharpenable kind. And then, yeah, maybe that is the only one that they carry on the Sephora website. So this does retail for $36 on the more expensive side. But this is such a perfect formula, and I must mention shade. It's also a beautiful, perfectly cool tone shade in Blonde. I usually try and go down a color from my hair. I try and match the coolness of my brows, and I feel like this one really killed it. Sometimes Blonde comes out super warm or just really dark. This was a perfect shade. So wanted to mention that. Aside from eyeshadow primer, it looks like Gucci has a full line, this concealer making the final thing for base products. They have powders, they have setting sprays, primers, all of that good stuff. I didn't pick up any primers, so I want to go straight into the foundation. I did pick this up on the Sephora website. This is the Internight de Beauté 24-hour wear breathable foundation. It's supposed to be a luminous matte foundation. Their blush is called the same thing, a luminous matte. I have mine in the shade 160N, which is listed for fair. By the way, all of their packaging, super consistent, super beautiful, super luxe. It has like a gold-plated pump at the top, and the cap is quite heavy. It's almost like double lined in here. I've just really been enjoying the whole experience. Here's the foundation. It's on the runnier side, so it's pretty lightweight, and I like that. This shade for me is a little bit yellow. It is not their lightest. I feel like their lightest shade is 120N, and those are listed for fair skin tones as well. So I do believe they call this a full coverage foundation. And just so you guys know, for reference, I have pretty combo skin. I get really oily in the T-zone, nose, chin, forehead, all the time, but then more like drier on the outer parts of my face. So I've been reaching for more mattifying foundations lately, and they have been working really, really well on my skin. As far as how this wears, it's like an all-day foundation. It doesn't budge. It controls my oils. It looks super beautiful. It's not heavy. It's not cakey. You guys saw it was a pretty runny formula. I feel like I put about medium coverage on. I didn't go super heavy. I have gone really heavy with this foundation, and it still looks superb and beautiful. So if you guys have combo skin, this is such a good foundation. I am not the kind of person who reaches for high-end or luxury over drugstore. Whatever makes me feel beautiful, whatever works best for me, that's what I reach for. But I have been loving this. I haven't really been putting it down since I got it, so I've been wearing it quite a bit lately. I almost feel like that foundation is waterproof, because when I put it on the back of my hand and I try and wipe it off with makeup remover, it stays, and then like the water seems to pill up on top of it. I don't think it claims to be waterproof, but it is so long lasting. I almost want to say it's not fully matte. The luminous matte kind of makes it like a satin finish, but it's definitely matter than luminous, if that makes any sense. This foundation does retail for $69. It does come in 40 shades. The shade range is not absolutely terrible. I will say that for a luxury brand. It does call itself a matte finish and full coverage, so. But I must tell you guys, it does have a scent on the top. I don't find that it lingers, and it's a much lighter scent than a lot of other luxury lines, but it does have some sort of fragrance. Now that we have the foundation on, let's get into the coup de grace. Let's get into the concealer. My gardeners just showed up, and it was raining, or it still is raining outside. So if you guys hear that, I can hear them edging right at this particular moment, so I do apologize. It's a super rainy day here in Florida. We have a storm out in the Atlantic, well, a hurricane, and apparently it's a big one, and we just had one, and I'm over it already, but it is daytime. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning. It just looks like it's, I don't know, about 8 o'clock at night. Let's talk a little bit about this concealer. I did pick this up on the Gucci website because it was available there first, before it was available on Sephora's website. It is available at Sephora now. It does come in the exact same number of shades. It comes in 40 shades. It does retail for $47. It claims to be a natural finish, full coverage, long wearing, but it is called the crease proof and hydrating concealer. So those are great. Those are great claims. If it works anything like the foundation and performs how it's described, I'm gonna love this. I got mine in the shade Fair 14N. There are quite a bit of light shades in this line, even for the foundation. Sorry, now they're mowing. Even though their shade range is good and the number of shades that they have seems to be really good, I can say that there are fewer darker shades, but the darkest shade actually looks really, really good. This is just plastic on the bottom, has like a floral top to it. I'm hoping the shade is good. Maybe it looks a little bit yellow for N. There's no fragrance in this at all. It smells like a concealer, so I do think it looks a tiny bit yellow, but I can usually make that work. I want to see, this feels super lightweight. Like, it doesn't look full coverage when I rub it in. And the doe foot applicator is just your kind of like standard doe foot applicator. It's not fancy in any way. Let's go on my more problem eye. I'm gonna do just that. And I am not going to test this concealer by building it up today. And I usually get creasing when I do that. I do not want to test the concealer that way. This is definitely a very light shade. I'm going to drag it across my eyes, conceal them a little bit. So the way that it feels on my skin right now is very tacky. It has a very, very tacky finish, and it feels thicker now that it's on my skin and as I'm applying it than it did when I rubbed in my swatch. Right now on Sephora's website, it does look like it has 8 5-star reviews, so I'm hoping I feel that same way about it. So I did the right side with a brush. I want to do the left with a sponge and see how I feel. I need to apply the same amount. I actually prefer this side a little bit more. This was much heavier with the brush, and I think this looks more smooth on the under eye. I'm actually gonna take the sponge and kind of pat this out. This just felt a lot thicker on this side. I would prefer to love this application. The shade is a little bit yellow and I think a little bit light, but we'll make it work. So far the concealer's looking pretty darn good. I wanna set everything down because I normally would. I did pick up a powder from the Gucci website. This is their matte beauty powder. This is pretty expensive. It retails for $64, but this does come in 10 different shades. That's actually a lot for a setting powder. And the deepest shade is pretty darn deep. Like, I'm surprised a luxury brand has such a range for a finishing powder, or pardon me, a setting powder. It says it's a natural finish, but it's best for oily, combo, and normal skin. And I have mine in the shade 01. And all of their stuff that comes in like these compacts comes in all of the same kind of sleeved case pink. This one is pink. Very consistent packaging throughout, I'm telling you guys. There's something about the experience of Gucci for me. This has a fragrance. It smells just like the foundation. I don't feel like it smells like any scent that I've tried from Gucci. I just have one of their perfumes, and I don't know that this smells exactly like that. It's definitely a floral scent. Packaging is pretty sturdy overall, and then underneath here, of course, you get the little puff. I don't know, is this gonna be any good? Oh, we could try this. A little Gucci puff. Okay, we'll give it a shot. I don't usually use these puffs, but the puffs that I do use aren't super different. I really just want to set the center of my face and then under my eyes like I normally would. I'll go across my eyes as well, just set that concealer down. It's a really lightweight powder. It didn't offer like a ton of additional coverage, honestly, and it doesn't look heavy, or I don't know, it doesn't quite look like I added a lot of powder. I was expecting this to be kind of a heavier weight powder, and I don't think it is. I think it's on the lighter side. It might be mattifying. I'm dying to see how it controls my oils. Now let's go into bronzer, blush. I do have a mascara and a lip product, but I want to use the bronzer and blush, I feel like, for eyeshadow. Again, a little sleeve here. I must have gotten rid of the one that the blush came in, or it didn't come in it. This bronzer I've had in my collection for a while in the shade 02. If you guys are returning viewers, you probably saw me finally declutter the 02 because it just did not work for me. And I decided I am absolutely going to pick up the shade 01 because 01 is pretty deep all on its own. If you guys can see, it has a pretty heavy reddish undertone about it. So if you're fair skinned, the pictures look too light in 02, go for that 01. You know, I'm taking off this concealer now, and quite frankly, I find the concealer to be a very similar consistency to the foundation. It is so hard to get off. It's literally almost like it's waterproof. I'm smelling this. It smells just like both the foundation and the powder. This does retail for $64, and this does come in 5 different shades. I'm not gonna get around that. They're gonna be out there probably for a minute. All right, I'm just taking an angled contour brush. See how red this is and quite deep it is for 01. Whoa, I went in way too heavy on that side. This almost is like kind of a tackier formula. It has a good stick to it. It's really pigmented. I barely tapped my brush in, and it kind of stays where you put it, even kind of on the swatch. It's really silky, but I wouldn't say that it's overly powdery. I mean, it really has a decent stick to it when it gets to the skin. It's not moving once you get it on there, so it's pretty long lasting. I want to go in with a little bit of a lighter hand on the forehead, just because it's quite pigmented. If you like a lighter bronzer, I feel like you would not like this because it's just so pigmented. All right, let's move on into the blush. I love this. This has to be, I can't even say this is my favorite product anymore because I am loving the foundation so much. This is their Luminous Matte Blush. I have mine in the shade Rosy Beige. It's quite a small product. They could have made it maybe in the same kind of component, but still very cute. This does retail for $49, so it is pretty darn expensive. I would say the formula for the blush is very similar, that it has kind of this tack about it, that it just kind of stays where you put it, but it still looks very airbrushed. I wouldn't say this is a buildable formula. It's pretty darn pigmented right away. You can build it up, but I just don't know that you can go in super light-handed with it. This is a product that I have had in my collection. I got this right when it launched and I traveled with it immediately because it's quite compact for travel and it's such a beautiful, long-lasting formula. It's uncomplicated and honestly, it's such a beautiful shade. If you're into mauve blushes, this is just gorgeous. I think I want to take the blush for eyeshadow. All right, I want to move into highlighter. It's called the Multi-Use Drops Caring and Illuminating. It says it's an illuminator and it's in the shade Gold, and I feel like this is the only shade that they have, but I could be wrong. I did pick this up on the Gucci website, but I'm back on the Gucci website and it says currently not available. So I don't know, maybe I got the absolute last one. This feels really hefty. This does retail for $43. The fact that it does have a shade on it, it's called 01. I feel like it probably does come in more shades, but I could be wrong. And I do not see this at all on the Sephora website. Gold-plated top, glass bottom, quite a bit of product. It's a dropper, and the dropper is, it's really good. I mean, it's good quality. It's picking up a lot. Some of these droppers, you wonder if they even work at all. Ooh, this is a very, very deep shade in 01. It's pretty, but I wouldn't say that it's gold. It's almost a peachy color and it's very liquidy. So I feel like you would want to probably apply this with your finger. It's not glittery or overdone as you can kind of imagine. I just want to see, is this really punchy? It's more on the natural side, but I kind of like that. I feel like it's not overdone, but it's not invisible. It's a really wet formula going on, but it doesn't stay super wet. It has a good dry down. The shade is so light when it gets to the skin that it looks more champagne than it did on the swatch. So this color is slightly more intimidating than it ends up looking on the skin. I can say that. There is no scent to this. It smells like makeup, basically. It's nice, it's pretty, it seems like a very functional packaging. I don't know if this is something that I would always reach for because I'm not into a liquid highlighter. I would love it if they came out with a powder highlighter, and if they do, I would jump right on that. But I can recommend this for what it is. Let's move on into the mascara. I did pick this up on the Sephora website. This did win Allure Best of Beauty for 2020, and it appears this is their only mascara at the current moment. It's called the L'Obscure Lengthening Mascara. It retails for $36. It's supposed to be, yeah, lengthening, long wearing. I have tried this. I've been wearing this quite a bit recently because it was something that I picked up when I picked up the foundation. I personally like this kind of wand. You guys might not, but it is the plastic short bristled wands so that I can get really close to my lash line. I like it better after my very first use. As the formula tends to dry out, as they do, I have been much preferring the way that this looks on my lashes than its wetter state when I first opened it. The formula is kind of interesting. It's in the middle between kind of a tackier formula, so it grips the lashes pretty well. I also feel like the wand really grips the lashes, but it's also wet enough that you can just keep building it. It does claim to be a buildable mascara. This is not waterproof or anything, but I do not find that it budges on me. It's a pretty decent mascara. I can't say that it's been my favorite, not like the foundation and then some of the other stuff that I really love in their line. And I'm pretty picky when it comes to mascaras, but as far as like the component and the wand, I'm just pleased that it's like this plastic short bristled wand. And additionally, that it actually is pretty pigmented of a mascara. I find a lot of luxury mascaras tend to be lighter pigmented. They're just lighter in general. I want to say this is actually probably one of my more buildable formulas. Like, it actually seems to get darker and darker as I keep building it. Some mascaras, they don't change in pigmentation as you continue to build them up. Sometimes they just give you more volume. This is one of the few that I feel like it gets darker and darker in color as you continue to build it, which is really nice. Not a lot of mascaras that claim buildability have a lot of buildability. So I do think this one has that. I don't feel like a whole lot of product comes in here though. It's so light compared to their other products, and also in maybe comparison to a lot of the mascaras that I have. I think that it just makes my eyelashes pop, even though it's not like the cleanest application. I have one lip product from Gucci. I've had this. This is the very first product that I picked up from them, and it is honestly not my favorite. This is their Glow and Care Shine lipstick, and it's quite expensive. This does retail for $45. They do have 14 different shades. I like the shade range in this. It's a high shine finish. It's supposed to be long wearing and hydrating and good for dryness. The problem with this is the fragrance in this is probably stronger than in any other product, and also it gets into your mouth. I wish that lip products weren't fragranced. I don't necessarily mind them. In really anything else, I can kind of get over it. This is more of a sheer formula. So I really do like the formula. It's just the scent doesn't dissipate. It lingers, and yes, it definitely gets in your mouth. This one is in Sally Soft Honey. So it's kind of a, I want to say a mauve shade, a warm mauve maybe. It's such a flattering universal shade. Again, this was the very first product that I had from them, so I don't dislike it in formula. It's just so strong. Like it's right under your nose. It's so floral. They do have quite a few number of lip products in regular size bullets that I would be interested in checking out. I did not get that for this video. I'd love to get more use out of this if I can stand it. I have used it quite a bit for what it is, but don't lick your lips. It's definitely hydrating. It's definitely a good shine and more sheer, and I really like that. I would like to try one of their matte formulas and see how it compares. We're gonna do that wear test. Every time I do a wear test of a concealer, I do like to check in after I've completed my full face, just so that I can see how the concealer is sitting, because I usually film for about 30 minutes when taking breaks and talking and whatnot. And so far it's really nice. Like nothing that stands out. I wouldn't say that it's full coverage though. I feel like what I put on, I got medium coverage out of it, because I can still see some of my darkness, which is normal. I don't like the shade though. I feel like it came out a little bit yellow in 14N. I feel like their foundation also runs a little bit yellow, but I can kind of get over that. Under my under eyes, I feel like it's a lot more noticeable because it's kind of like the center of attention. So far it looks really good. I'm interested to see how it wears. Sometimes concealers wear so good throughout the day. They just look even better. So I'll try and do a check-in on my phone for you guys. In addition to that, we will see you when it is much darker outside. I will do at least an 8-hour wear test. It is now 11 o'clock in the morning, so maybe even more than an 8-hour wear test, you guys. Stay tuned. I will see you very shortly. Welcome back to almost 10 hours in the future, actually. It is 9:43, so we stopped 10 minutes to 11 last time. So I've had a really good wear test on this. I did do a check-in. I will throw it up on the screen. This was me in natural light right at the 4-hour mark. Overall, everything held up pretty well. I know this foundation really well, so I know that it really controls my oils a lot more than a lot of foundations. By this point, most of my face would be super oily. I didn't touch up. I took a nap, I was outside, it was raining. There were a lot of elements that were happening when I was wearing this concealer. So I can tell you, there is no creasing on this concealer. I would normally get creasing for a drier formula on this right eye here. I don't think it's an overly perfecting concealer. It does claim to be hydrating. I can't say that it changed my life though. Some of my absolute favorite concealers are super smoothing. They almost fill in your lines. It's almost as though they're formulated with silicone, even though most of them are silicone free. I don't think this is a line smoothing formula, but I do think it's anti-creasing. I think it's more of a medium coverage though. I kind of noticed that it's worn off a little bit. It's not an overly long lasting formula. Some of my concealers that are maybe a little bit tackier, a little bit more hydrating and line smoothing, they do have a good lasting power. I don't think this one kind of compares in terms of lasting power, but it's not at all bad. My biggest pet peeve with concealers, and the reason that I will never recommend a concealer, is if it creases. I don't like the extra eye prep. It's not worth it for me. There are a ton of concealers on the market. Creasing is just the biggest thing for me that turns me off on a concealer. So no creasing on this, but I didn't fall in love with it like I immediately fell in love with the foundation. So I feel like I have to keep saying that about the foundation. If you have combo or oily skin, it's just such a beautiful kind of oil controlling, long wearing foundation. Even though I took a nap, I still feel like my blush is pretty good. Overall, I'm just such a huge fan of their products. And I have to say this eyebrow pencil really wowed me overall. Powder, not super heavy, not super mattifying. It's actually a really decent pressed powder. And I feel as though, because it's on the lighter side, this would actually work for people with drier skin. I don't think this is a heavy powder at all. The only side that really held up on the highlighter was maybe a little bit here. I feel like I kind of fell asleep like this, so I think it's more come off on this side. I don't think I recommend the highlighter. I feel like it was kind of a higher price point. The shade is actually nice and not this deep when it gets to the skin, but that's pretty much all I can't recommend, except the lip product. This has a really strong fragrance, like I told you guys. So I know this video is mostly about the concealer, but some of the stuff was new. But because I tried it all on in today's video, I wanted to give you an update on everything. I wanted to see how this wore on its own with just one single layer, and it does increase. I don't have much more to say about it than that. I can definitely tell you guys, it's probably not going to be my most reach for concealer, but if you're a fan of Gucci overall and you're someone who looks for creasing, like to stay away from that, I think it's a good concealer to check out. I don't think you'll be wasting your money if you like something of a more medium and medium longevity concealer. Those are my final thoughts for this evening, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed my video. I'm gonna get the heck out of here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, time, night, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.